Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Pocono Raceway for the running of the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500 here in the Sundrop Cup Series. We saw a great doubleheader last weekend, or last time out here at Pocono, as it was Jay Jefferson sweeping both of the doubleheader races. He rolls off in 8th, trying to sweep all three this weekend, seeing if that 48 team can go to victory lane 3 times here at Pocono. On pole is Carter Friesen, the Rotiform colors coming up to the Cup Series with that number 85 team. Nice to see that brand new paint scheme out on the track first time this season. And team boss Diego Yepes rolls off in 2nd. In 3rd is Matty Porta, a driver who has been on the move since his win at Steelback a couple weeks ago. He's up to the 5th position in points, only 35 points behind Brady Burkhart. And in row number 2 with him is Riley Spurleytube, the Texas Star 28. Happy to see that 28 team, a part-time entry, trying to get himself into victory lane. He's driving for full-time this season, but among about 3 or 4 different cars, especially all those Dodges, the 22, the 79 he's made starts with this season, as well as the 61. So happy to see Spurleytube trying to run a full-time schedule here in the trucks and the Cup Series. And DJ Gibson rolls off in the 5th position in the 53. This is a track he's won at before in the Truck Series. Let's see if he can go and become another driver to win the same track in both the Trucks and the Cup. Alongside him in 6th, DJ Curtis, the other DJ in the field. He drives that number 5. Curtis right now tied for the 3rd position in points with Brandon Morris, 34 points back from this man right there. Points leader Brady Burkhart. He's 32 points ahead of Dusty Neal. You see Neal's McDonald's number 94 at the bottom right of your screen. He rolls off in the 16th position, but Brady, a home state driver in front of a home state crowd, they are cheering for that 99 team to finally break through and get that first win of the season. And Jay Jefferson in the 48, as we said, he's trying to sweep all the Pocono races. Tib Foster, and alongside him is Alex Benyako in the 30, driving another home state driver and a home state team. SBR's based in Pittsburgh. That team happy to be out here at Pocono. Stephen Wallace Jr. with a good start in 11th. Peter Onjak with the Reese's colors as we are near Hershey, Pennsylvania. But back here in 15th, this number 06 team, Harmon Benning Peterson has Jose Perez on board this weekend. Their 2nd attempt this year. And of course, with the small entry lists, pretty much if you enter the race, you make the event. And this 06 team did more than make the event. They start 15th today. You see the damage to the roof already. That's not from any issue. That's how the car came to the track, because this is the Daytona car. Harmon Benning Peterson does not have the biggest budget. They wanted to go Cup racing just to get that fan support on their side, try to drum up sponsors. And really, after Daytona, we did miss them take the lead at Daytona under commercial break, but they did take the lead, and the fans erupted there. We'll see if Jose Perez can wheel that number 06 to the front there with all that damage. And Dusty Neal, as we said, he rolls off in the 16th position. He is 2nd in points. Brandon Morris 3rd in points, sporting U.S. Army colors this weekend here for the 55 team. Another home state driver alongside him, Vince Freeze. Joseph Strigley had a good finish to his doubleheader event at Pocono, trying to get that 63 to continue the momentum that he had last week before the final lap at Pensacola took him out of a good finish. Larry Hagan, our Pensacola winner, rolls off 29th. We have 9 different winners this season in the first 9 races. We'll see if we continue that streak to 10 or we get our first repeat winner of the season. And Anderson Reed, sporting a Blaze Alexander throwback, a lost racing driver back in the early 2000s who was killed in an ARCA crash. His family from Pennsylvania, his car dealerships around here as well. And Carson Bowers rolling off 35th. Still a horrible season so far for the Onge Auto number 25 team. We are ready to go racing here at Pocono. It's going to be 60 laps for 35 drivers, sure to be entertaining. Let's go ahead down trackside for the commands to fire the engines here at the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500.
Drivers, start your engines!
Pepsi and the NSDCA have teamed up this season to bring you the Pepsi Pole Award for all 26 Sundrop Cup Series races this season. This week it is Carter Friesen in the number 85. The Rotiform colors back on Carter Friesen's car for the first time since last season in the trucks. He's looking to put this car into victory lane, be the first driver in the Cup Series to get 2 wins this year. We've had 9 races with 9 different winners to start off. Let's see if Carter can break that streak. With that, the engines are fired. We are ready for 60 laps around this 2.5-mile triangle here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Sure to be exciting, like the truck race. It's about 15 to 17 laps fuel window. You can stretch it a little further, and of course we saw at Pensacola last week, the fuel window didn't matter, especially when you're pitting at the edge of it. The strategy just did not work for about half the field. However, with this being about 15 to 17 laps, that means if you run the 15 lap maximum, you could make it to the end. It's a 60 lap race. That would be a 3 pit stop race, with the end being a bit more of a fuel strategy. So again, of course, like all of these Cup Series races, if this thing can go green the right amount of laps, we could see a fuel strategy race to the end. However, if there are cautions and people come down maybe on lap 10 or whatever, you will still have pit stops. So most likely, at least it's going to be a 3 pit stop race, maybe more, depending on how the cautions and pit stops go. We saw 2 big incidents happen down here in turn number 2 in the truck races. The first race, a big pile up, a lot of trucks involved, but the second race was just a slight spin. We'll see how this Cup event will handle this time around here for this first time that they are running at Pocono in an actual race event. Carter Friesen, Diego Yepes on the front row, Matty Porta and Riley Spurleytube in row 2, DJ Gibson, DJ Curtis row 3, Brady Burkhart, Jay Jefferson row 4, Tib Foster and Alex Beniaco row 5. A 60-lap event. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be long. We'll see all of it here on the NSDCA. Carter Friesen, Diego Yepes, the Monster Motorsports driver with the team boss beside him. Green flags in the air. We are racing at the Pocono Raceway. Down the front straightaway, we're 2 wide up front, but 3 wide as Onjak's going to be the first one to make a move out, and it looks like he's going to be the only one forcing him 3 wide. Lane clears Stephen Wallace Jr., so it's back to 2 wide further back, but Matty Porta in that 20 all over the back of Friesen. Coming off the corner, Friesen up the track is going to go up and pick up Diego Yepes as the field of 35 rushes down the back straightaway. Porta on the inside in that 20. He's going to look for that race lead, possibly heading into the tunnel turn, as here they come through the corner, 2 by 2. Friesen on the outside. It looks like a bit 3 wide back there. Murray might have been in the middle. Cody Smart, you see in that 0-2 from the top to the bottom. Smart running the full race this weekend. Nice to see the 0-2 team picking up some full-time racing here at Pocono. But Yepes with the crossover into 3. He's going to lead lap 1. And across the line, it will be Yepes, your race leader, as they come across. As we said, will we see a repeat winner for the first time this season? Will we see that streak of first-time winners this year increase to 10? You got Diego Yepes. He is winless. Porta's going to throw a slide job on the 05, but you got Diego Yepes up here winless this year. Brady Burkhart's your points leader. He's winless. DJ Gibson basically needs a win to have a chance at the chase as we head into the final stretch of 8 races after this until we get our chase grid. But Gibson up in 5th. He could do it here. DJ Curtis is another driver who's been up front all season long. He hasn't been able to win. Neither has Riley Spurleytube. Neither has, looking further back, Jose Perez. I mean, technically, he'd be a first-time winner. It wouldn't be for the chase, but if HBP could somehow pull off a victory, that'd be insane. You also got Alex Beniaco. You got a lot of part-time guys in here that are very strong that could end up front, but Diego Yepes in the 77 now begins to pull away here 3 laps into this one in that number 77. Back in second, though, Burkhart might be making it 3 wide. Not going to happen. Friesen and Porta are going to come down in front of him there. But let's talk about Yepes real quick and here at Pocono. Last season, in the trucks, that Shepherd Racing equipment was not as strong as it was this year, where Morris got the pole for that event. But really, Shepherd Racing has never had the strongest equipment in the truck series. The Mountain Dew Custom Series, a different story, but the trucks have not been their strong suit. Now Yepes in the 77 for Butcher Gatorade Motorsports. He wants to show that he has the speed. He wants to show he has the potential to come out here and win this year. And again, he's a speedway master. He loves Pocono. He loves the big tracks, the big fast tracks. That's where he's gotten a lot of his wins, multiple wins in Michigan and such. But Diego Yepes in the 77 now, he's going to come down the front straightaway and lead yet another lap. Has a nice advantage over Porta, Burkhart, Friesen, Curtis, and Tib Foster, your top 6 trying to pull away there. But Diego Yepes has the car underneath him. He has the talent. Let's see if he can get his first win in over a year. Down the back straightaway, up front staying pretty nice and calm. Curtis was making a move there, but it looks like Foster on that outside line getting the draft from Friesen is going to almost carry it, but now Curtis comes right back. Peter Onchak in the 44 is now up here. Riley Spurley clear into 8th. Jay Jefferson clear into 9th, and the HBP number 06. Look at how torn up that is. Look at that just mess of a car, but that's just what HBP is. They come out and are the fan favorites because they bend the rules, basically, the NSDCA. But you see the 06 here inside the top 10. It's a great job right now. It's a great start for Harmon Benning Peterson. And you see right behind him is his teammate. If this was the trucks, if Jose Perez was in the trucks, he is a Gatlin Downey Inc. driver. Stephen Wallace Jr. in 11th. Of course, this is the GDI Cup program. Nice to see those two running up front right now. Jacob Edson up to 12th. Vince Freeze from 20th to 13th. He's been an underdog that we'd have to watch this season, but up front now, Porta going after Yepes. Burkhart just sitting in the wings watching this all happen, but here comes Matty Porta in the 20, down to the inside. Not going to happen. Yepes is going to send it on through, but he has to keep it off the wall. Barely kept it off the wall, but a nice amount of driving there by that number 77. He's going to hang on to the race lead. Porta second, Burkhart third, top 3 pulling away. Carter Friesen in 4th, Foster in 5th. Jose Perez remains in the top 10. Colton Lane's up here. You see Cody Goforth, Brandon Morris moving from the about 19th on back. Dusty Neal, though, is dropping. You see Joseph Strigley bringing himself up. Austin Murray in the 91. Again, he's won 2 races here for Mid-South Automotive. He had a great finish to the first doubleheader event in that number 91, and I believe in the second one as well, so do not count him out as he is charging his way through the field. And there's another driver charging their way through the field. Carson Bowers in the 25 car. He started this race from the 35th position, a very poor qualifying run, starting to move that 25 up through the field slowly but surely. Has gotten around maybe 9 or 10 drivers there. And we'll go ahead and take a quick look as it's still early on in this race. There is that Anderson Reed number 1, the Blaze Alexander throwback. Nice to see a throwback to a fallen driver on that number 1 car. He right now runs in the 30th position. Larry Hagan's dropped to the back. He's 34th. And in 35th is Alex Fletcher. But up front, it remains Yepes, Porta, and Burkhart, your top 3. And these are 3 Season 1 drivers. Most of the Cup full-time grid is Season 1 or Season 2 drivers who have joined in and driven for years in the NSDCA. As we talk about that, you got a few drivers that are full-time that did not actually make their debut in the early seasons of the NSDCA. Those include drivers like Colton Lane. He was not, oh no, he was in Season 2. He was at Shepherd Racing. But you got guys, Cody Goforth was not around that early. He only joined a year or 2 after the early 2 seasons. So that 27 team, happy to be full-time there. You got Sebastian Kuklon up there. DJ Gibson, he was in Season 2 for the Evernham Racing Team in the early days of Evernham in the 02 car, if anyone even remembers that. And Joseph Strigley, his first debut season was in Season number 3 when the trucks and DPDS were joined. He was driving in the Mountain Dew Custom Series that year. Of course, he is the owner-driver of the NSDCA, driving with a small operation, his full-time pit crew, and just 1 or 2 full-time mechanics as well as him. It's nice to see that 63 team out here with that, especially hanging up in front with the big dogs. But the battle for the race lead, these guys cannot get around Yepes. He's been dominating this race so far, and you see already it looks way more strung out than the truck race was, and these cars are a bit more packed together. Because, again, this is the inaugural season of the Cup Series, there haven't been too much research and development, too much upgrades applied to these cars, so they should be a bit closer together. But right now, up in front, they're starting to string out a bit more than they did in the opening laps of the truck races. But right now, Yepes in front. Burkhart tried to mount a charge there, but it looks like he has nowhere to go. Looking to the inside of Porta. That's going to bring Tib Foster in the 40 car up front. And Tib, give him a shout out this year. There's been so much heartache by the team. They won the Sundrop 500, and after that, there were a couple crashes. The pit strategy has been out the window this year. I don't know how that crew chief is still in office, but Foster has had pace and he's had speed pretty much everywhere we go. Maybe except for 1 or 2 races, but for the majority of the season, he's had speed. It's just unraveled during the race. Right now in the 4th position for Angiato, making moves towards the front. But now Burkhart in the 99 is going to look to the inside of Porta. It doesn't look like it's going to happen. That inside line really not working for Brady, and now that's going to give Foster the 3rd position. Can DJ Curtis try to capitalize, take that 4th spot away from Burkhart? But Tib Foster now up into the 3rd spot. He is a threat week in and week out to win races now. And, you know, we've said that maybe he's not one of the drivers that are the greatest of all time in the NSDCA, but really he should be in the conversation. He has a Sundrop 500 win, 3 road course victories, as well as, I believe, an oval win at Iowa last season. He has a Mountain Dew Custom Series championship. All he's missing is a great chase run, because he hasn't been in the chase, I don't think, ever in the Crown Royal Truck Series. He's always gotten hot after the chase begins at Mosport. But Tib Foster, if he can mount a championship run this season, he could be talked about with the greats like Jefferson and Yepes. That could be a race and championship contender every week of the NSDCA, because this 40 team has really rallied around him this year and gotten him some great runs, even though they've been outdone at stages of the race. Now it looks like, I just want to notice, there's been a split in the packs here. There's Dusty Neal, Brandon Morris, Sebastian Kukulon as this front group pulls on around, but it looks like Zachary DeLello's back there. Joseph Srigley is just wall riding back there. It looks like he took it a little too hard and got into the outside wall. 11 laps through this one, but yeah, these guys look like they might be losing the draft of up front. You got Murray, Gibson, Eves, and Bowers. Those 5 are pretty strong cars behind Zachary DeLello, so they might be able to draft on up. But these guys back here, like Cody Smart, Joseph Srigley, Ryan Butcher's trapped in this, and he really has nowhere to go. Neither does Larry Hagan, but these are some slower part-time entries at the back. They might not be able to have that opportunity to draft right up and get back in this fight up in front. But right now, Yepes has been leading ever since he took the race lead. 11 of 60 complete. We're going to go ahead, take a quick commercial break, bring you guys back to the action. Closing in on pit stops here at Pocono. Yepes, Porta, Foster, Burkhart, and Curtis. Your top 5 here, the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500.
The bacon double stack is back in the biggie bag.
All these come pre.
Major bag alert. Major bag. Alert. Major bag 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 alert. The bacon double stack is back in the biggie bag for just $5, only at Wendy's.
Back live here at Pocono. Tib Foster fending off Matty Porter for second. He got around him at break, but a poor exit off of turn 2 cost him a little bit of time there through the short chute. Brady Burkhart's now going to get around Porter. That's the 99 up into third. DJ Curtis and now Peter Onjak looking 3 wide. That's the battle for that 4th, 5th, and 6th position as they're going to head into turn 1. Will Peter send it in? Not going to happen, but Curtis was real close to Porta there. It looks like DJ is going to be able to snag that 4th position away, so there goes Porta dropping back. Jay Jefferson, Jose Perez in the 06 now up inside the 7th and 8th positions down the back straightaway here. But it does look like the edge of this pack being Dusty Neal. You see the gap back to Zachary DeLello and the rest of those back markers, slower guys that were just caught in the back that had to work their way through the field. They are at the back there, but now Tib Foster in the 40. Can he be the first driver to get around Yepes here for this race lead? He's going to get a nose to the inside of Diego. Will he have the run coming off the corner? Running a bit higher. Looks like Curtis, though, 14 laps in. He's taking an early pit stop in that 5 car. Drag race across the line. Yepes is going to lead that lap. Foster's contending. But DJ Curtis and DJ Gibson, the DJs on the same strategy there, if we can get to them. And those are the only 2 coming down pit road. So an early pit stop for those drivers is going to set this up. And now that starts the pit cycle as Foster contends with Yepes and Burkhart. Toyotas versus Dodge up in front. Most of the field running single file through this group means you could be saving a lot of fuel. We saw last week at Pensacola. Jay Jefferson in the 48 car was out in front for a couple laps. Larry Hagan tucked in behind him, was able to use the draft on the big ovals, save some fuel, and Larry ended up making it to the end and winning that race. But right here, Foster going a bit low. Burkhart's going to throw it 3 wide on him, so it looks like that means Tib is coming in this lap. And that he is. He's pretty low. So Foster's coming in. There is Porta coming on in. Jefferson and a large majority of this front group coming in on lap 15. So it looks like they're trying to split that strategy up evenly there. Eves is also going to stay out. Alex Fletcher's going to stay out. Bobo Jones stays out, as well as Burkhart, Yepes, and Onjak up in front. But this is the busy part of pit road, and you see how many cars are just down pit road. That's over probably 75% of the field there. And the 40 team goes down to the attention of the Wetcoin pit crew there in that 40 team with the X-Side Batteries colors. And they are down all the cars. You're taking 4 tires and fuel. That's all you can do. No need to run those 2-tire pit calls this early on in the race. You don't want to end up screwing yourself for the remainder of this. But Tim Foster, looks like that 40 team will be the first ones out off of pit road. There's Matty Porta coming on out right behind them. Riley Spurley, Tube Carter, Friesen coming out. And there's the battle for the lead is Curtis now. And that's going to be big for DJ Curtis. That's going to snag him the race lead as he goes around Foster there. And further back, there was another driver who came in. That's DJ Gibson. It's going to snag him a couple spots after he had a horrible opening stint to this event. But now we're looking back here, and yes, Burkhart, Yepes, they come in at the end, at the beginning of lap 17. So technically, these guys that just came down, they did come in at the start of lap 16, which should be just enough. If you could split those stints evenly, you should be able to make it to the end of this race. Now the field is much more spread out, and that's what we like about these fuel strategy races. It spreads the field out a little bit more. You see Curtis at the top of your screen. Yepes now, they're still working on that number 77. Onjak's coming out. Burkhart's coming on out. And Yepes, will he come out? A little slow getting him out, so it looks like they were trying to top off as much fuel as they could, but they're going to blow right by Burkhart. There is Curtis, your new race leader, pulling away, and Tib Foster is going to clear that 40 into second. A very sketchy pit road exit for these guys. You do not want to just overshoot coming off a pit road. There's Eves and Fletcher and Bobo Jones at the back. But it looks like the earlier stints paid off. Dusty Neal's going to be trapped in the back. But as we go around, we will get an update to your race lead as Burkhart now is going after Foster for second. But again, for yet another time this season, DJ Curtis has a nice advantage over the rest of the field. Every other time this year, though, it hasn't paid out for him. He's had multiple second-place finishes or losing the race lead in the closing laps. It still hasn't snagged a win this year. We're going to go ahead and leave a flyby as they come across the line here. DJ Curtis is your race leader in that number 5 as they cycle on out. Foster second, Burkhart third, Porta fourth, Jay Jefferson up to 5th, Onjak 6th, and Yepes back to 7th. There you see Spurley Tube, Friesen, and Lane, your top 10. Cody Goforth, Perez, and Freeze, the rest of that group. Benyako Bowers, your top 15, and the rest of the field cycles on by. And it looks like Ryan Butcher in that 83 will be the last driver on the grid. So just like Pensacola, the 83 team not hitting a good setup, must have had a very poor pit stop. So they find themselves in the last position for SBR. Not too happy to see. With SBR, the 30 team and the 99 team have been really carrying the team this year. The 83 has been mid-pack usually, and Edson is the slowest out of all of them, but Edson performing very well here at Pocono today, trying to put himself into a good finish for some good points if he can maintain a top 20. DJ Curtis, though, out in front in that gear wrench 5, and he has a nice advantage over Foster, Porta, and the rest. 3.6 seconds and growing, so that 5 team, they hit the adjustments. They had a great pit stop. The short strategy. They short pit the field, and that's probably what forced their hand for these guys to come in. They might have been able to make another lap or two out there. As you saw, guys like Matthew Eves and them played the overcut, but DJ Curtis in this 5 car, not too bad of a strategy, and a great pit stop puts himself into the race lead. Now Foster, these guys are going to slow each other down. Car out of the race, that's Christian Vargas in the 42 with a suspension issue on the 42 car, and that is going to cost Christian Vargas his chance here in that 42 for Digital Motorsports. But as we were saying, these guys up here, they could easily catch up to Curtis by just drafting with each other, but as fast as these cars go, maybe you want to be the race lead or the leader of the line, so when you catch them, you're able to get around them. But the thing is, if you're battling like this, you're not going to catch him. Foster, you see there, he was able to gain a tenth or two, about 0.12 seconds there on DJ Curtis. So if you can maintain your race pace and pull away, have a little bit of draft from the back, but not be squabbling with each other, you can easily catch a guy that's running around on their own up front, which is DJ Curtis. But you got guys like Jefferson and Burkhart. They were battling for that last lap. And now Jay, he wants to go even further. He knows he has a car to win. He knows he is a driver to win here at Pocono. And he wants to sweep the 3 races this weekend here at Pocono. And right now in that 48, he's looking for the 3rd position on Porta. Side by side with him, he's going to dive to the inside of Burkhart and Porta. And Burkhart's actually going to work his way to the bottom of Porta there. And we'll see. They come off the corner. We'll see if Tib gained any more this time by on DJ Curtis, as they're going to come across the line in that 40 car. 3.48 last time, 2.98, so half a second quicker. If you stay in that draft and you're not part of the people battling each other, you can catch very quickly, especially though these guys have a lap newer tires than them, and at a 2.5 mile speedway here at the Tricky Triangle, tire wear could be big. A lap difference in tires could still be fairly big, especially if you took that warm-up lap to really wear out those tires. Porta now back to the inside of Jefferson. Burkhart and Yepes now. Yepes is caught back up to this front group. Here's Peter Onjak, Riley Spurley, Tube, Carter Friesen. Colton Lane doing very well this year. Cody Goforth as well has moved that 27 back into a championship running performance. He's 14th in points, so there are, 26 full-time Cup Series drivers, unless you don't count DJ Gibson for missing part of the season, but he is still a championship-eligible driver. Cody Goforth here in the 27, 14th out of 26, not too bad for a North Border Motorsports team that didn't even know they were going full-time racing until Cody was signed in the off-season. So this 27 team, we're going to have to see if Cody Goforth will be able to put himself up for a dark horse run to the chase. Right now, your 2 wild cards in the chase are Jay Jefferson and Larry Hagan for scoring those race victories in the at Richmond and Pensacola. And there you see Curtis was able to gain a bit of time on Foster, and I think it's because with those guys battling behind him, he's not getting as much draft there. There's more dirty air just in that pack in general, so it's slowing the whole thing down. And I think Tibbs probably on the radio trying to get the team bosses and the crew chiefs and the spotters to tell those guys behind him, work together, catch up to Curtis so we aren't too far behind on that next pit cycle. And 22 of 60 complete. We'll be pulling up on the next pit cycle shortly. DJ Curtis is your race leader here at Pocono after a great pit stop, and the undercut puts him out to a very far margin. We're going to go ahead, bring you guys to a commercial break, and get you guys back to the action here at Pocono for probably another round of green flag pit stops here at Pocono. Back live here at Pocono. Diego Yepes, Tib Foster now fighting for that 2nd position. And again, as we said, you won't be catching the race leader as strongly if you're battling. There you see Yepes did gain about 3/10 on Curtis, but he only started battling him about turn 2. So Yepes up in the 77 in 2nd. He might be trying to help DJ out there because DJ still has not gotten a win this year after dominating many races this season. So maybe Yepes trying to play some team strategy, or maybe make it so he's the one that's going to take out Curtis for this race win. Not take out as in spin, but take out for that position to take the race win. Jay Jefferson up to 3rd, Foster 4th, Burkhart 5th. Porta starting to fade, it looks like, in that 20 car. He's back to the 6th spot. Foster looking to the inside. We still have about 5 laps before anyone's got to come into pit road, so we'll see if anyone plays a weird strategy by really undercutting it as they come on around here. But Curtis out in front. Looking at Curtis, if he tries to run a lap 14 strategy again, or a 14-lap strategy again, I don't know why you would, but if he does, he'd be coming in about another lap or 2. You can easily, if you take that 14-lap strategy, you can easily extend another stint in this race to possibly run maybe 16 laps, 17 laps. Again, the fuel window is about 15 to 17, but you can give or take a lap or 2 on either end for how you run it. Looks like that 2nd pack there behind Yepes and them are starting to converge together. Spurley, Tube, Friesen, Goforth, Perez, the 2 Monster Motorsports guys, Colton Lane, Vince Freeze, all up in this front pack. And nice to see, right now, this whole pack is 13 cars, and all Monster Motorsports cars except Bobo Jones are in this event. And Bobo is an R&D car for that 2 team. That is a pretty weak car, but the other 4, the 4 full-time cars of the 5, the 05, the 85, and the 95, all up inside this top 13. Nice to see for Monster Motorsports today. And again, Jose Perez, you see him at the top of your screen, 11th position right now for HBP. That is fantastic, and especially the fans are enjoying that. But Yepes now, as Yepes got past Foster, it looks like Diego is a man on a mission. He's gained almost a second on Curtis in the last few laps since he took that 2nd position. Foster back there with Jefferson. He's got to fight some guys, but he is catching Curtis at a very quick rate. And as we said, if Curtis ends up doing lap 14 strategies all the way to the end to extend that last stint to lap 16, he'd be coming in about a lap or two. But really, the fuel window is probably going to be opening here around lap 28 to 29 for those guys that came in on that lap 15, lap 16 break. So again, you can make it on 3 stops. Even if you short pit by a lap or 2 from lap 30, you can still make it to lap 45 or lap 43. It looks like lap 43 in this race, if this does go green all the way, lap 43 would be the money stop. That's the lap you'd have to get to at least make it to the end, but that'd be stretching it just a little bit. And again, we'll see what the kind of strategies are, especially being in the draft. Curtis is running full throttle right now, or maybe he's saving. That's why that second pack's catching him. But you also got these guys that have been sitting in the draft this whole race, might be saving a little bit of fuel down these long straightaways here at Long Pond. But right now, Yepes has been gaining, and that is scary for Curtis. But it looks like, again, it's a lap fresher tires for most of these guys than DJ. As Perez is going to bounce off the wall back there. That's not good for HBP. They're going to have to buff out even more damage to the side of that car for the next event. You see some big damage to the side of that car. But right now, Yepes and Jefferson, the two starting to catch up to Curtis down this front straightaway. But DJ has led this entire middle stint of the race. And lap 29 right there, you're going to start seeing the fuel window starting to open up as these guys come on around. Doesn't look like anyone's coming in, but remember the DJs were the first 2 in. So if Curtis and Gibson come in, that'll probably be a good estimate of where the rest of these guys can run, because they all ran 1 to 2 laps more than the DJs on this opening stint. Coming up to halfway, though, it's been a pretty clean race, and that's got to be very nice to see. Again, I say it every time we have a nice green flag run for some green flag pit stops. We rarely see that in the NSDCA, and we rarely see that like in the past seasons as well, not even just this year in the Trucks and Cup, but really anywhere. And it's nice to see that the teams now get to play some strategy instead of just waiting for a caution, coming in on the caution, being predictable. And there you see Curtis is coming on in. It doesn't look like Brady's coming on in, so the rest of the field's staying out for now. So we'll see, as we said, coming in on lap 29. So it looks like they extended their opening stint by maybe a lap. And it looks like Gibson is trapped on the outside line. So DJ, if he was coming in with Curtis, he's not going to be able to come in, which might even help him. But it looks like it's all DJ Curtis. He's the lone driver coming down pit road there. Gives the lead over to Diego Yepes and that 77 team. And that front pack kind of split up now. I believe Jose Perez might have slowed up the 27, 05, and 95 as they're further back there. But we'll see. This lap, next lap, will be most of the drivers coming on in just over halfway as they come across the line this time. And we'll see who will come in. And again, you'll notice if they dive down here in this little short chute, that's probably a good indicator of them coming on in. It might also just be an indicator of them passing. It looked like Tim Foster was making a move there on the 44, but Jefferson is going to be the next one in, so this is going to be the diverging strategy. Now Foster's in, Porta's in, Spurley Tube's in, and now you're going to see a lot of drivers coming on in, but a few guys up front that stayed out, that might be staying out an extra lap. I think Friesen was one of them. DJ Gibson, of course, had to stay out an extra lap. He wasn't able to come in. Fletcher, I think, those guys up top are trapped to stay out, so they're going to be playing some extra strategy, including Joseph Strigley, which, again, Strigley's a big strategy guy in these Cup races. So we'll see if he'll come in that next time by, or even try to stretch it a bit longer. But this is the majority of drivers coming on in this time. It'll be 4 tires and fuel. Again, the only time you'd want to take 2 tires, fuel only, on this race is if there is a late race caution in the final few laps. You have a green-white checkered, especially at the end of that. Gibson and Jefferson contact on pit road as Gibson tries to get in. Some contact there might not have been too damaging, but Jefferson's going to get out in front of Tim Foster. Where is DJ Curtis? And he is long gone. Curtis on that alternate strategy, short pitting these guys. It might get him a race lead once again. And now Yepes comes in, Burkhart, Friesen, and the rest of this grid's coming on in. Hopefully Smith and Bobo come on in, because I don't know how much longer they could even last if they stay out. But Bobo might be forced to stay out. He's on that outside line, and he's forced up, so Bobo is going to possibly... I don't think he's going to lead this lap. No, he's not going to lead this lap, so not even going to get himself a bonus point. But the 2 car there is going to be the last driver out in front. Looks like he was forced out, so play the alternate strategy here for the 2 team. It's an interesting opportunity, especially you could have some big fresher tires. You're going to have a lot fresher tires than Curtis. Peter Onjak was the race leader last time. I think that's just because his pit box might have been further down than someone else's. Or Peter actually stayed out. Oh no, Peter did stay out an extra lap, and even further extra lap for the 44 car. So Peter was your race leader that time by, going to get himself a bonus point. So this is a long stretch. The first guys came in. DJ Curtis came in on, what, lap 29 to lap 30, that transition. So Onjak comes in on the 32 to 33 transition, meaning he's going to have about 4 laps fresher tires than the 5 at the end. So he might be able to run a later pit stop and have fresher tires at the end. Don't know how that's going to work out for him, but we'll see. Austin Murray was, man, slow pit stop for the 91. He's at the very back, and we will go ahead and shuffle through the field here. Bobo Jones has brought that 2 down pit road. His pit box right on the start-finish line. Look at how nice that is. But it will be DJ Curtis in the 5. He'll be the one taking this race lead as they come on by. Onjak is coming off a pit road, so he's going to lose. He's probably going to be at the edge of the top 10. I believe that's where he was this opening stint anyway, or these opening 2 stints anyway, so he is going to be at the edge of the top 10, maybe the edge of the top 5, actually. But as they come on around, it's going to be DJ Curtis back in the race lead. Yepes second, Jefferson third, and in fourth is Tib Foster. Burkhart fifth, Onjak sixth, but I think Spurley, Tube, and Porta in seventh and eighth might be able to catch him into 2. If not, still a 6th place run and has at least 2 to 3 laps fresher tires than the rest of this grid is going to be very nice to see, and we'll see if the overcut on Onjak will be able to work. Jefferson now making a move for second. That's 6th, 7th, 8th. 9th is Goforth. 10th is the 85 of Carter Friesen. 11th, Colton Lane. 12th is Vince Friesen. Jacob Edson up to 13th. Carson Bowers 14th. Looks like the 06 team tried to repair that car on the pit road, and that's going to lose them a ton of time. Stephen Wallace Jr. 17th. Kukulon 18th. Alex Banyako 19th, and it looks like Morris will be the 20th position. Neal having a bad day. He's 21st. Hagan 22nd. Reed 23rd. Downey 24th. Fletcher 25th. DeLello 26th. Butcher 27th. Strigley 28th. 29th Lloyd. 30th is Cody Smart. 31st, Antoine Smith. 32nd, Bobo Jones. And there's Jose Perez back in the 33rd position. Heartbreaking there for the 06 team, but when you smack the wall that hard, you probably screwed up some steering. You screwed up something in that car. So he's going to be able to probably move around a lot of these guys, but a top 10 run that he was having today is going to go away from him. He's in the 31st position. DJ Gibson, 32nd. It's been a horrible race for this 53 team. Just have not hit the setup. Must have just been a qualifying setup for one opening lap, and the tires are gone. Austin Murray's 33rd, and Matthew Eves, 34th, had a very poor pit stop. But DJ Curtis back in the race lead, 34-60 complete. Still a long way to go in this race. But again, now you're looking at this. Lap 43 and further is probably when you're going to have to come in. That will be the edge of a fuel window. So, Peter Onjak in this 44 was able to make the fuel and tires last until lap 32, the end of lap 32. He came in, I believe, on the end of lap 15 and into lap 16 as the rest of the field did. So if that's it, that was about, what, 17 laps. That was 17 laps on your tires. So yeah, coming in on that transition from lap 43 to 44, or 42 to 43, somewhere around that is Porta bounces off the wall. Somewhere around that is when you're going to want to come on in. And that will be able to get you to the end of this race on that set of fuel and tires. Do you want to short pit it? I don't know. DJ Curtis and this 5 team have shown that the short pit strategy works. He's not as far ahead of Yepes and Jefferson this time, but this top 5 now is a bit more spread out. They're not fighting each other, so we could see those guys in 2nd and 3rd start to catch up Curtis, especially now that it's only a 2.5 seconds between them, and DJ's losing ground quickly. But we've seen in the past in the SDCS, you short pit and you run out of fuel at the end, or you push too hard on any of your stints. You come in a lap early, or even at the end stint, you come in too early, your tires are shot, you're losing time, you're losing grip, and you're losing fuel, and that could cost you a race victory as well. It's happened to Curtis before. The short pit strategy has got him out in front, and you see Yepes and Jefferson are closing in very quickly. They definitely have his draft down this front straightaway. Diego really throws it in. But for the track position here, Curtis gained a lot of time on those 2 short pit stops. He gained multiple seconds on the front guys each time, and he was able to take the race lead. He's probably going to lose it here in the next lap or 2 to Yepes and Jefferson, both basically the class of the field so far this race. But really, Curtis could be the model for a short pit strategy at the end. If you come in on lap 43, try to undercut everyone else, get those few opening laps where you have fresher tires and you can gain a lot of time on the guys that are going cycling through pit road. It could be interesting to see here at the end if the short pit will last. The long pit could last too. Peter Onjak could come in, only have 10 laps to use his tires, and really drive that car through. The 44, he's only in 6th position after that long pit, and he still gained a bit of time from it. So Peter, I'm not sure if he was held out like Bobo Jones was. He couldn't really dive in on multiple drivers there in that corner, but it could be interesting to see if Onjak can make the tires last a little longer. Could he upset everyone and come home with the race victory? He hasn't been up front this race. He's been inside the top 10, but not contending with the race leaders this whole time. Onjak up there trying to fight them off. But Curtis out in front, Yepes in second, Jefferson third, and whoa, Curtis was real slow through the corner, and almost Yepes got into him, and it looks like Yepes and Jefferson are going to go past DJ. And again, DJ, I believe it's 2 laps older tires than the field right now, and that's big here. That's 5 miles extra on your tires. And Goodyear, you know, they make some decent tires, but they're not the greatest for long runs. And right now, Yepes and Jay Jefferson, who again is looking for his 3rd Pocono race win of the weekend, he's now fighting for this race lead. And these guys right here have caught and passed Curtis. Now DJ has to wonder, does he have enough to make it to lap maybe 43, 44, hang up front and take that short pit, undercut these guys, and take that race lead. 39 of 60 complete, and it is DJ Jefferson in the race lead. DJ Curtis fighting Yepes for second. Right now in this top 3, actually in this top 5, only 2 of them have wins this year. Jay Jefferson won Richmond, Tim Foster won Daytona. Curtis, Yepes, and Burkhardt have not won this season. Burkhardt, your points leader by 32 points over Neal, and is sure going to open it up on Neal after this. But DJ Curtis, who sits 4th in points, only 2 points behind Neal. He's 34 back from Burkhardt, and especially with the top 3 finishing positions paying a bit more extra in between those spots than 4th, 5th on back as Burkhardt's catching. If Curtis could somehow win this race, that could be a big gain in the points, maybe even by 8 or 9 points, especially with how many laps he's led over Burkhardt, even if Burkhardt was to finish in this 4th position. So DJ could be the threat right now for that regular season title, especially with how consistent he and Brady have been. Burkhardt, Curtis, and Sebastian Kukulon are the only drivers that would be in the chase right now with 0 victories. Burkhardt entered this race 1st in points, Curtis entered 4th, tied for 3rd, and Sebastian Kukulon entered 7th. He's 40 points back. But Sebi, let's go ahead and see if we can find that 12 car. I don't remember even mentioning him this race. And there he is right there, just running around solidly inside the top 15, so a solid day. Carson Bowers in the 25 has really moved his way through the field for Andrado. Started this race 35th. They've had a poor qualifying effort this season. But right now, this 25 team doing very well. They've moved through the field a lot in these races, but they have pace. They just need to nail some qualifying times and get up to the front because you see right here, they're up in 13th. Jacob Edson's in 14th. These guys battling up inside the top 15. These two could possibly put race-winning runs in altogether if they could just hang on and do good in qualifying to get themselves out of the back. But the top 4 now under a blanket. Yepes at the back of that with Burkhardt and Curtis. They're all chasing Jay Jefferson in that 48 car. We're coming down 20 laps to go that time by. Tim Foster's in 5th. Peter Onjak 6th. Freeze in 7th. Porta 8th. Spurley Tube up in 9th. Cody Goforth in your top 10. And Colton Lane out the back there in that 05 car. Morris fighting in the just inside the top 15. And that's another driver in the top 5 in points. So Morris and Neal, the 2 drivers who have been contending with Foster for the last few weeks, they are struggling this race. Meanwhile, Curtis, Porta, and Burkhardt all fighting inside pretty much the top 5 for most of this race. Tim Foster as well was up there. Sebastian Kukulon is back here in this group as well. Peter Onjak, Carter Freeze, and Colton Lane also inside the top 10, as well as Jay Jefferson. Larry Hagan, right now holder of that last wild card spot just because he's the last driver outside of the top 10 with a race victory, outside of the top 10 in points. But you're looking up here, Diego Yepes, who is now just taking the lead back. Yepes sits 16th in points. He could take a wild card spot, especially he'd probably pass Hagan in points with how good Yepes has been running this race if he can pull it off. So he could get that points wildcard spot. You also got Austin Murray, who's not doing too well. Zachary DeLello, who's, I believe, just inside the top 20. Actually, no, he's outside of the top 20. So has Austin Murray. He's fallen back. Stephen Wallace Jr. is inside the top 15. Matthew Eves, Gatlin Downey, those guys they're going to have a miracle really to get into the chase. Guys like Downey, Bowers even at this rate, Edson, Butcher, Spurley Tube, Cody Smart, DJ Gibson, Joseph Strigley. That group of drivers right there are going to need a win to make the chase. That's pretty much the only way it's going to happen, but they'd still have to be maybe top 15 in points when it's all said and done, especially if we have a new winner this week, a 10th winner in the first 10 races, and that could easily happen. You got Burkhart and Yepes up here fighting for it. One thing to point out, the 30 car... One car's in the wall. That's the 75 of Danny Lloyd. It looks like Bobo Jones might have gotten into him. Cody Smart's on pit road. Don't know if that's an issue, but caution is out. The 30 car I wanted to note was 1 lap down, but now this is going to change it. And once again, 43 was the basically the edge of a fuel window. And now we're going to have a caution right at the end of what would have been the final round of pit stops. And now we're going to possibly see if another untimely caution will cost drivers on fuel another time this season. You cannot script this enough. My gosh, Jefferson's the leader. In second is Burkhart, third Yepes, fourth Curtis, fifth Foster, Onjak sixth, Friesen seventh, Spurley Tube eighth, Porta ninth, and Lane 10th. This was shaping up to be a clean race to the end. It was sure to probably be a great strategy race to the end, as DJ Curtis was trying to pull that shortcut. Peter Onjak as well. So Curtis and Onjak's strategies, they're probably out the window now, because you're going to have to come down for 4 tires and fuel. You're not lasting 17 laps. Well, one, you're not lasting another 16 laps without fuel in the car, but you're also not lasting another 16 laps up front with no tires or 2 tires. I don't think track position's the key here. I think you just got to go 4 tires and fuel. If another caution comes out, though, we'll have about, 15 to go this time by when they come down pit road. If there's a green-white checkered, that could be strategy there. Green-white checkered could really be strategy. And we will, by the way, we will check what happened to Cody Smart. And the 30 was 1 lap down. Not sure if that was, not sure what was happening there. But we will see what the strategy will be. If there's a green-white checkered pit stop, or if there's a green-white checkered, I should say, you have to come down to pit. You're not going to have enough fuel. There's no way you're going to have enough fuel. But this is the first caution of the race, so it's been pretty calm. We'll see what'll happen. Jefferson, Burkhart, Yepes, Curtis, Foster, your top 5, as they're going to lead this whole group of cars down pit road. 2 cars, 1 lap down. That's the 30 of Alex Banyako, the 02 of Cody Smart. And Smart, is he still on pit road? Yes, he is. So that 02 team, they're under the hood of it, so we'll have to see what the issue was for Cody Smart there. And of course, the 42, the suspension issue on the 42 is out. Jay Jefferson leads them down in that 48 truck, or 48 car. Next time by will be 15 laps to go, which is just the edge of a fuel window. So, again, when we say fuel window, that means basically the min and the max you can stretch the fuel. The minimum you can stretch the fuel is if you're really pushing it. If you're really pushing it, you can make 15 laps pretty much max. If you're trying to save, you could get 17 to 18 laps if you're running pretty calmly. As you see, Jefferson leads them out. I think Yepes might have got Burkhart. We'll see the official lineup. Cody Goforth's up here. Jacob Edson and Carson Bowers now inside the top 10. Friesen with the poor pit stop. Larry Hagan and Anderson Reed making contact coming off of pit road. You see the 2 of Bobo Jones. He was involved in that. Benyako's up in front in the 30. Hopefully he'll pit. If not, lappers in front of the leaders. I mean, that's just the rules here. I can't explain them to you. But Jefferson will be your race leader. But again, we were talking about the fuel window. If you're trying to stretch it, you can make 16 to 17 laps. Maybe 18. If you can push it a little farther and just save it a little more, you could probably make 18. We saw Onjak make 17 this race already, so we'll see. We'll see what'll happen. Basically, what we're looking at, the green-white checkered comes out. If a green-white checkered comes out, you're going to have to pit. You're not going to be able to stay out in front unless you're maybe pitting like with a couple laps to go. Jefferson's a little low. I hope that's just, yeah, he's not coming on in, so that's good. Benyako's coming on in, so Alex being good for the hometown crowd. He wanted to be up front this race, possibly lead him to green, but playing nicely, letting the leaders figure this stuff out for themselves. Cody Smart back out on track in the 02. We'll get a replay of that as well as what happened to bring out the caution, but we will go ahead, get you guys back to the action here at the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500. It'll be one last dash to the finish. Let's see if Jay Jefferson can complete his Pocono sweep. Caution's out here at Pocono for a simple spin. Danny Lloyd with this back of the slower drivers. You have Joseph Strigley on the inside, Bobo Jones right behind him. And it looks like Bobo might have gotten into the back of Strigley, pushed him into the 75, but Bobo's going to get a piece of the wall after the 75 of Lloyd comes off of the wall. Danny Lloyd, a British driver who's been shocking teams this year in the DPDS. His Cup campaign hasn't gone too well either. Damaged up number 75 for Tony Zhang Motorsports. Get you guys back to the action after this here at Pocono.
If only there was a place nearby you could get one of these. Or these. Good thing they're sold literally everywhere business is done. I'm pretty sure you could buy them at a bank. Not sorry, Reese's.
How to make chocolate milk. Start with milk, add Hershey's syrup. Stir well, and voila! Chocolate milk, made by you and rich, delicious Hershey's syrup.
Lights on the pace car go out this time by. We'll be going back racing. About 12 laps to go here at Pocono. Jay Jefferson in the race lead, Diego Yepes second, Burkhardt third, Foster fourth, Peter Onjak in fifth. Cody Goforth is up to sixth, Riley Spurleytube seventh, Curtis eighth, Lane ninth, and Jacob Edson breaks into the top 10. Freeze in 11th, Bowers 12th, Freeze 13th, Wallace Jr. 14th, Neal 15th, Kukulon 16th, Morris 17th, Hagan 18th, 19th Reed, 20th Porta, 21st Delello, 22nd Downey, 23rd Strigley, 24th Butcher, 25th Murray, 26th Eves. There is Alex Bignacco a lap down, Gibson 27th, Fletcher 28th, 29th Perez, 30th Lloyd, 31st is the 29 of Antoine Smith, 32nd Bobo Jones, and I believe 34th Cody Smart. He remains one lap down in that 02 car as he's pacing his way on around. We're getting ready to go back racing here at Pocono. It was a flat tire on the 02. They had to try to get some of the tread out of the wheel well because it was all torn up on the inside of that car. Jay Jefferson, though, your race leader. And with 30 team, it was an oil leak on the 30 team. And we also had a report checked. DJ Gibson actually had a flat tire at the end of one of his pit stints, and that's why he was so far back in the pack. Jay Jefferson, your race leader. Here they go. Cody Smart might have an issue back there in the 02 car. Not sure about that again. But Jay Jefferson in the race lead. Diego Yepes second. Brady Burkhardt third. Tip Foster fourth. And Peter Onjak fifth. We're getting ready to go back racing. It's going to be 12 laps to go here at Pocono. Coming down the front straightaway. Green flag's going to be back in the air. We are racing once again. Who's going to win it? Jefferson leads us down with a great restart. Burkhardt and Onjak going to make the opening moves. Neal wants to gain some spots now that the field's back together. Colton Lane in the 05 back there as well, trying to make a move. And now Burkhardt in the 99 looking to the inside of Yepes. He wants that first win this season. Look at Cody Goforth sending it on in into the side of Foster. Now Spurleytube jumps to his inside. Now he's shoved three wide as Spurleytube's getting down there. DJ Curtis fell back on those pit stops. He's trying to get himself up to the front. But look at Peter Onjak in the 44. Where did he come from in the Reese's Menards car? He's up in this fight for the win. But Jefferson out in front. Burkhardt second. Yepes now falls back to fourth. Foster back there. Curtis back there. Up front is not the drivers who have been leading this entire race like Yepes, Curtis, and Foster. Now it's Jefferson versus Burkhardt in the race lead. Coming around, it'll be 11 laps to go. Can Brady make a move to the inside? Again, you got to hope that the fuel will last. It should last. The stats say it lasts, but our stats, guys, are full of crap half the time here in the Sundrop Cup Series. So Burkhardt to the inside of Jefferson. Now Yepes looking back for Onjak, but Brady wants that first win this season. He wants to prevent Jay from sweeping this Pocono weekend, and Jefferson drops back to second in the Gen T number 48. Yepes now on the inside of Onjak for third. Riley Spurleytube, where did that guy come from in the 28 car? We only have a few drivers who have won in both series, both the Cup and Trucks this year. Jay Jefferson is one of them in that 48 car. He is the first driver. I think he might be the only driver to win in both series this season. Peter Onjak and Riley Spurleytube. Onjak has a Cup win. He's looking for his second Cup win, but Spurleytube there in the 28, he has a truck win. He won Road America. Could he add his name to the list with Jay Jefferson, his team boss? But Jefferson all over the back of Burkhardt. We're coming around. It's 10 laps to go this time. Can Burkhardt come out with the victory? Field coming on by. Jose Perez. Caution is out. Big hit for Bobo Jones. Strigley's upside down. And Alex Fletcher's car is totaled. Cody Smart might have retired. Is back on pit road. So there's another issue on the 02 car. But Bobo Jones Alex Fletcher, Joseph Srigley upside down, and we will have yet another caution. But this means if you are at the back of this grid, do you stay out on the lead lap? Or do you stay out or do you come in? If you're back here, let's take a look. If you're back here, Brandon Morris, Sebastian Kukulon, even Dusty Neal. Neal is back here in the 14th position, maybe even outside the top 10. If you guys come on in, fresher tires, there's still enough time to make it to the end. Could you possibly play some strategy here, come down pit road, get fresher tires, if these guys up front do stay out, and win this race? You got to play the numbers. You got to crush the numbers. It happened in the truck race. We had a late caution. Patrick Smith went to the back because he came in for tires, and he restarted 8th. Would have restarted 8th, restarted outside the top 20, got caught up in a crash. Now we're seeing, there's Alex Fletcher in the 72 coming on around. Cody Smarts brought the O2 back out onto the track there, and it looks like no one's coming on in, and that shocks me. That kind of shocks me. Cody Smarts coming on, flying on up in that O2. Is he going to be getting back on the lead lap? What the heck's going on there with Cody? But I don't know. I would have came in and pit. If you're at the back, I definitely would have came in and pit. But we'll see. We'll see what'll happen. I think the timing and scoring lines had him cross the finish line maybe before those guys. That's why he was getting up there. Alex Fletcher's day done. Heartbreaking for the Smart Motorsports guys. They weren't having the best race for either car, but now both of them are pretty much taken out of this one. Smart's laps down, and Alex Fletcher, big damage. Bobo Jones, heavy damage to the 2, and Joseph Srigley was upside down. We hope he's okay, but everyone stayed out. We'll go ahead, get a quick replay, bring you guys back to the action after this here at Pocono. Srigley is going to take a wild ride down here in turn number 3. Alex Bignacco in the 30s on the inside. He's going to push through the corner. He's a lap down. He's going to push through the corner right into Srigley, and it spins Srigley sideways. Fletcher's going to hit him, but this is going to take a bad bounce and a vicious hit to the roof in that 63. It looks like, looking at the video again, it looks like it's similar to Peter Onjak's wreck at Daytona, where they were hitting the passenger side, but that is still scary to see. Even with the safety advancements that they've made for these Cup cars, it's scary to see that 63 go up like that, especially after he took some air and landed upside down. On board with Jose Perez behind Alex Fletcher. Really, no one had anywhere to go. You're at the thinnest part of the track, and there's just nowhere to go through that. Looking at the back, you see Srigley sliding on his roof, so we're hopeful that Joseph Srigley's going to be okay. The officials are trying to get him out of his race car. They flipped it back over, but they're trying to get him out of his race car. A vicious hit, roof first in the 63 after a bad bounce, flips him over, and that is a scary, scary impact for Joseph Srigley here at Pocono. Back live here at the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500. After a vicious crash down in turn number 3, Joseph Srigley was taken out of his car and taken to a local area hospital. He was talking with the trackside officials. However, it was a little groggy, and they are unsure of any injuries that he could have sustained from a hit in the passenger side roof area. And we are lucky as an NSDCA fan base that it did hit in the passenger side more than the driver's side, but still, Joseph Srigley shaken up. He was talking, but they're not sure. They're not sure what kind of injuries he may have sustained from that. He was not complaining of any pain, but he was kind of out of it when he got out of the car. So we'll hope that Srigley was okay after that vicious hit. But Burkhart, Jefferson, Yepes, Spurley, Tubin, Onjak are your top 5 for this final restart. We will have 6 laps to go in this race unless we end up having a caution for a possible green-white checkered. Of course, in the Crown Royal Truck Series, you don't have a green-white checkered, but in the Cup Series, we wanted to make sure the fans would have a green flag fight to the finish, and so we have green-white checkers here this year. Brady Burkhart, Jay Jefferson, Diego Yepes, Riley Spurley, Tube, and Peter Onjak are your top 5. This Pocono race went from clean to dirty now. So we'll see if these guys up front can keep it clean like they have been this race. See who will come out with the victory. Burkhardt, Jefferson, Yepes, Spurley, Tube, and Onjak, top 5. Burkhardt with a nice restart. Green flags back in the air. And we have 6 laps to go to decide it at Pocono. A lot of drivers tucking out. Curtis is glued to the back bumper of Onjak. Lane, Goforth, Bowers jump to the inside. And big thing on Bowers, he's looking for a top 10 run, moving his way through the field in that 25. But Jefferson wants to complete the sweep. He's all over the back of Burkhardt coming off the corner. Spurley Tube in the 28. Looking to the outside of Yepes, and he's going to clear. Here comes the TSR 28 of Riley Spurley Tube into the fight. Yepes in 4th, Onjak 5th, Curtis 6th. And Goforth now inside the top 10. Can Cody Goforth in the 2017? Can Carson Bowers or Jacob Edson get themselves up in the fight? Dusty Neal's up here as well. The whole field except the 02 and 30 are on the lead lap. They are mixed in the back. Right now we have basically the top 18 nose to tail trying to fight for this win. But Burkhardt trying to pull away from Jefferson. Now Riley Spurley Tube in the 28. He's full time. Just because he's running 4 different rides doesn't mean he's still not eligible for a chase berth. And now he's trying to get a win to put himself into a chance for a wild card slot. Yepes 4th, Onjak 5th. Right now in this top 4 that are under a blanket, only Jefferson would be a repeat winner. And now Jefferson is going to try to capitalize as Burkhardt walks it up the track. Brady is your points leader. He has such a massive points lead over drivers who have won races this year. But that's not because he's been dominating races. It's because he's been consistent. And right now, he's been up front this race. He's gotten the lead in these last few laps. And now he wants to win in front of the home state crowd. The fans on their feet. The Xfinity Pennsylvania 500 with the Xfinity car in the race lead coming around. It'll be 4 laps to go at Pocono. Jefferson loses some time. Yepes trying to dive it in on Spurley Tube. This could be Diego's best shot at a win this season so far, as he's making a charge for it. Onjak and Curtis back in 5th and 6th. 7th, Cody Goforth, Jacob Edson. Where did they come from? Another late race caution could bring them into the fight. Neal up to 9th. Bowers into 11th. There's the field as they go. Foster's dropped back. Heartbreaking for that, but there's the rest of the field. And Jose Perez at the back. Now Yepes looking for a move on Spurley Tube. That's for the 3rd spot. Now we saw in that opening stint, they were not able to get around Yepes. They weren't able to get around good runs from Yepes. So with that Toyota 99 up in front, could he drive like this number 77, possibly hold off Jefferson for the closing laps? No one was able to pass JJ on any of the following restarts in the final race, or in the first race of the doubleheader. Zachary DeLello's going to get sideways back there. I hope they're all okay, but DeLello was sliding back there. We'll see if anyone will be able to pass Burkhardt in these final closing laps. We're down to 3 laps to go here at Pocono. And he's opened up a major advantage. Jefferson just driving it in too hard, trying to catch up to Brady. It might need a caution now, but again, if a caution comes out with a white flag, they race back to the line. There is no green-white checkered. So JJ, if he wants a caution, he needs it in the next 2 laps. And it looks like he's stacking up this grid. He's slowing him down as Burkhardt's pulling away. I don't know if he's trying to get Spurley Tube to give him a big shove down the back, or he's trying to line up together. They're slow at the back. Caution is out. We will have a green-white checkered. DeLello, Reed, and Murray are involved in it. And there goes Burkhardt. He was all ready to set sail, and we said JJ in the field needed a caution in the next 2 laps, and they grab it. Now Burkhardt's going to have to do it again for one more time, but now the question is, who is going to gamble to try to win this race? Burkhardt's going to lead him off the line. That's going to lead us back to the caution. Good thing there. It looks like all the drivers are still rolling, so that is good, especially after our last incident. But these guys pit with 16 laps to go in the race. There's going to be probably another... there's going to be another 2 laps to finish the race, which you could make. Then there's probably going to be another lap of caution after these next 2 laps, plus at least 2 laps of green flag racing. If you're saving under caution now, maybe. If you're at the back of the field, if you're guys like, you got Antoine Smith back here, Matthew Eves, Butcher, Downey, Gibson, those guys, do you stay out? Do you just try to take that track position, just gamble on the fuel, make it last, try to make it last? Do these guys even come in? Does anyone come in? Is everyone sure on fuel? Our stats guy could just get fired after this race if no one comes in this time. But you got guys up here. Do they have enough fuel? And it looks like the way that they are pacing around, they believe so. Now, the only question is, do they actually? You had those laps. You had a lot of laps of caution laps. You've had, what, about 6 caution laps since that last round of pit stops. We've had 2 pace laps, and we're having some more pace laps here. So maybe you're saving fuel under the caution. You also got, still, we go around this time, then we go around next time for the lap cars to come in and pit, and then we get the one to go. Meaning, that's another extra 3 laps, plus another 2 green flag. We'll see. We still have a couple laps left under pace. They still could come in next lap, or even on the green flag, they could have to come back in. But Brady Burkhardt, Jay Jefferson, Riley Spurley-Tube, Diego Yepes, Peter Onjak, your top 5, and the rest of the field believe they can make it on fuel. We'll just have to see with this green-white checkered. But we will go ahead, take a quick commercial break, and bring you guys back to the action. First, though, we have to see what happened to Anderson Reed, Zachary DeLello, and Austin Murray down in Turn 1. Pretty simple incident. Austin Murray at the end of this race trying to pick up any spots he can. Dives to the inside of DeLello. Flies right into DeLello. Hooks him into Reed. Murray bounces off the wall. And then Reed and DeLello go spinning as well. Good job by Cody Smart getting through that. But a lot of cars torn up after this one. We've had cautions breeding cautions in these final few laps. A lot of guys damaged. We'll bring guys back to the action after this here at the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500. Coming back around this time here at Pocono, and this should be the one to go here at the Xfinity Pennsylvania 500. We're already over the extra laps. We're going to be on lap 62 of 60 technically here for this green-white checkered finish. But Brady Burkhardt, Jay Jefferson, Riley Spurley-Tube, Diego Yepes, Peter Onjak are your top 5. Lights on the pace car go out. They'll be running an extra 3 laps. An extra 4 laps, actually, because the end will be on lap 64. We'll be running an extra 4 laps than the scheduled distance. Again, you could make fuel. 17-lap fuel window is possible. These guys came in on what? Lap 44. We'll say lap 44 they came in. That means they've ran 18 laps so far. However, they have had roughly 7 caution laps in the mix of that. So if you were planning on this, you probably would have been saving under that first caution with Strigley and them getting in it. You would have been saving once you came off of pit road, to be fair. And especially now, you had the time on pit road to 2 those 4 tires, and you could have shoved as much fuel as you could into that gas tank. There's going to be 2 to go. My opinion, people are going to be dropping out on this last lap. I don't think that every single one of these teams can stretch this fuel 20 laps. There's a chance. Again, there's always a chance. We say the fuel windows, but again, that's based off of practice speeds. That's based off of running green flag the entire time. There's so many different strategies these teams and drivers can think of to save fuel during the race that they don't necessarily test in practice or even in races before, because we never had a cup race here before. So do I think that everyone's going to be able to make it on fuel? No. I think there's going to be at least a few guys, probably from the front, probably from the back. Maybe even Brady. He hasn't had much draft these last few laps to save fuel. But I don't think that everyone's going to make it on fuel. If they do, I'm not going to be too shocked. Again, you have a lot of caution laps, a lot of pace laps that could be saving fuel. But they don't need to think about fuel now. You're running it till it's dry. Right here, 2 laps to go at Pocono. Can anyone pass Brady Burkhardt? Green flags in the air. Jefferson with a major restart in the 48. And there he goes. He's looking to the inside already on Burkhardt. Yepes dives to the bottom. Neal wants to pick up some spots. You got Downey, Freeze, and Smith back there. But Jefferson's going to try to set it in that 48. He's looking to the inside. Look at Diego Yepes. Do not count out the 77. The greatest of all time in the NSDCA. On the back of one of the greatest of all time, Jay Jefferson down the back straightaway. But Burkhardt carries the momentum off of turn 1. Down the back, they still have to take the white flag. They don't take the white flag. We rack him up for another green-white checkered. Yepes throws it in. He's up into second. Here comes Diego Yepes in the 77. Jefferson might be too little too late for him to get the shot. But will anyone come in and pit? Will anyone be running out of fuel this time by? Jefferson to the bottom of Yepes. Tim Foster, it looked like he was low. We'll see if anyone comes on in. And it looks like, no, Neal's coming on in. Edson, Neal, they're all out of fuel at the back. They're all running out of fuel. Do they have enough up front? White flag. When you're up front, you just cannot save it. And again, the fuel strategy is going to kill them. Why didn't they come in on the green-white checkered, especially if you're in the back? But now Diego Yepes is fighting after Burkhardt for this race lead. Do these leaders have enough? They've been pushing this whole race. Do they have enough to make it to the end? Yepes in the 77 down to the inside of Burkhardt. This is the drag race. Either way, if one of the top 3 wins, it's their first win on the season. Curtis in the 5. He was dominating this race. He's going to lose it, but here comes Yepes to the bottom. Burkhardt very wide. He might get the wall. Up the track he goes. Into the wall goes Burkhardt. Jefferson sliding sideways. Here comes Yepes. And Riley Spurley-Tube in the 28. Can he make a move into 3? He might not be able to. Yepes there. Burkhardt there. Do they have enough to make it coming off of 4? Coming off of 3. Yes, they will. Diego Yepes in the 77 steals it at the end. His first win in 2 years. Yepes wins at Pocono. Rest of the field coming on around to save that fuel. And I told you, I don't think everyone's going to be able to make it to the end. You got to give it to a lot of this field for trying, but I don't know why. You know, these pit crews, these crew chiefs, you know, they're smart. Some of them can be smart, and some of them can be risky, and a lot of them are risky. But Diego Yepes, they kept it out. This whole field had to be running on fumes. All these guys had to be running on fumes. But Yepes, it's 2 years since he won the championship in the Crown Royal Truck Series. That's the last time he won in the NSDCA. And he gets to celebrate with the BGM crew, both BGM cars winning in the last 3 races. Morris and Yepes, and now our 10th different winner this season here in the Sundrop Cup Series. A lot of cars back here. They just went for fuel only. However, a lot of these guys didn't lose too much. We had Yepes, Spurley-Tube, Burkhardt, Jefferson, Curtis, Onjack, Stephen Wallace Jr. is out of fuel. Friesen's also out of fuel. Friesen's the last car. He came across, Stephen Wallace Jr. was the last car. He came across 8th. Smart was 31st, 1 lap down. So really, they didn't have a chance at the win. And obviously, if they came down, they wouldn't have made that last lap. And I can't believe how they didn't just run it on fumes. But really, Edson still comes home 10th, Morris 11th, Foster 13th. So the fuel strategy didn't really cost for many of these guys because most of the front guys came in anyway. Looks like Reed's still out of fuel. So that's interesting there. But again, another NSDCA Sundrop Cup Series race mired by fuel issues. And again, it's because of untimely cautions. If these guys run the race clean to the end, green all the way, you probably see some fuel strategy at the end, which is more natural, where these guys are running out with maybe a lap or 2 to go because of how they played that fuel strategy, not because of a caution where you really had no choice but to come on in. That's not to say that the teams didn't have chances. They probably thought the NSDCA might have been able to rush the restart because really no one was coming in. But they have rules. They have the regulations of how many laps should be completed at each track for the caution laps. And really, they just ran 1 extra caution lap that cost a ton of drivers. And again, you probably cannot be too happy with the finish. Again, it's fuel strategy at these big tracks, just in the NSDCA in general. Really, again, these issues wouldn't happen, really, if the cautions came out at the opportune times. Last week at Pensacola was definitely not because of a caution. There were no cautions in the race until the last lap. So really that was mainly on the teams. But, you know, here these guys were running the perfect strategies. You saw differing strategies. Curtis making fuel strategy happen with an undercut. Peter Onjack making it work with an overcut. But a lot of drivers there ran out of fuel at the end, and that is heartbreaking to see. But what's even more heartbreaking, Joseph Strigley again taken to the hospital after this race. A vicious hit to the passenger side roof. We hope he is all well, but again, they weren't giving too good of signs. He was at least talking to officials, but was not too alert. So possible. I don't want to speculate on injuries there, but Strigley might not be running a couple of races in the future. However, that was a vicious hit. It was slower, at least. It was definitely slower than other hits we've seen in the NSDCA. Bobo Jones, a fantastic job slowing it down. You know, you have really nowhere to go when there's a car bouncing off the wall back into your path, and he slowed it down enough, but still pretty hard hit. These roofs, these cars are as safe as they can be, really, but sometimes, you know, there's incidents that just happen like this. But we are going to be heading out next week for some more racing. I don't remember the exact tracks for next week's events, but Cup Series will always come back. They are pretty much every weekend that the NSDCA has races running. But this is race number 10, 10th race with a 10th different winner. We've seen a lot of parity this season, and happy to see Diego Yepes, the greatest of all time, as he's been known for years in the NSDCA, finally getting that car back into victory lane. His 12th career National Series victory, including the Mountain Dew Custom Series, Crown Royal Truck Series, and now one in the Cup Series. Exciting race there. We had a lot of strategy, a lot of differing strategy, a lot of good racing, and the ending, of course, neuters it. The fuel, again, the NSDCA is probably going to have to look into some of the fuel strategy, some of the fuel issues, because really you can make it to the end, but these green-white checkers, you know, teams really cannot predict that half the time about these green-white checkers, especially when they were just introduced this season. We've only had one or two this year. But an exciting race. Hope you guys enjoyed as well. We'll get some updates in the Discord down after the race. Of course, the full point standings and everything else. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time on the NSDCA.